Hi everybody, and thank you very much for joining me with live session 3. It's been absolutely amazing, the previous 2 live sessions that we've had, and I hope that this one is not any different. We've had so many different creative so much creativity that's come into this, and I'm so happy with the way things have turned out so far. What we need to do now is build some buildings and establish the planet. So that's the plan for today. That's what this live session is going to be about. I'll be posting this on YouTube eventually. And again, thank you very much for those of you who have joined me on Patreon. It's a huge support to me and my family. If you're thinking of joining, please have a look at the Patreon website. The link should be in the description. It's been amazing to see how many people have joined already, and I'm so looking forward to many more people joining. The more people we have, the more creative we can be, and we really will make this project together. So without further ado, let's get started with live session number 3, making buildings. So I gotta say, I'm sorry about the lighting there. I'm not entirely sure what happened. So what I'm trying to do right now is establish what the planet is like as a character, what the kind of things that I want to be in the planet. Basically, as a background, it can't just be an extra thing. Because the sci-fi nature of it is they're going to go from different planets, then I'm planning to make as many differences in each planet as I possibly can. So I've established a few things here and there, created a process of what my planet actually wants to look like, and I've decided it'll be more like a deserty, dry planet. When the ideas that we got from the live stream was that it was effectively just one body of water, and that water was a lot of money. Only the upper classes, as it were, would be able to afford it. So that's my one single body of water. You can probably see that blue dot there. And it's very smoggy, lots of industry, lots of garbage, and those rings that are going around it are basically just garbage that is surrounding the planet. And Vendor, whatever, was effectively established on top of an existing civilization. So that planet, or the people that were there originally, are gone. They are no longer there, but the monuments that were there still stand. And that's what I'm trying to do now, is effectively silhouette out different monuments, different ideas, different shapes, and that, just to see what I like. Some of them work, some of them don't, some of them take a little bit longer. But if I create a whole bunch of silhouettes, put some details on top of it, then what I can do is pick and choose areas that'll be in my planet whenever I'm doing the backgrounds, and that will give me a better reference so I can just kind of add them in here and there. The one that I'm doing right now, I'm not entirely sure if it definitely fits in with the planet feel or the monument feel. It looks more like like an old library possibly. And I was going for a library, but I'm not entirely sure if that's the one that works. In any case, we're just creating shapes in the same way that we designed the taxis. And as we're designing these shapes, we're adding more detail to it once the silhouette has been defined, and it creates, something pretty cool. And you can see here the differences between the shapes and the detail actually just makes the detail a little bit more pop. And as I've said before, when it comes to the when I was doing the taxis, I don't have to stick to those shapes specifically. I can add things here and there to them, but overall, it's just to give me an idea. So what I've established was that the planet as it is now is a planet for industry and for merchants. It's for selling things. So on top of the monuments themselves is going to be built shops. The monuments will still be there, they'll still be in the past, but there's going to be wires, there's going to be markets, there's going to be cars zooming around, and that's obviously where Kenny comes in when it comes to the taxi business. There's a lot happening within this, so I try to almost get the monuments in first, establish the scale, so those little dots are effectively people, create a point of perspective, and then on top of that I can add in all of my lights, all of my buildings, all my shops. Basically most of it is shops. So that's what I'm doing just now, and almost kind of crossing off on my list things that I like. And again, it's a dry planet, so it's a bit more deserty, so I wanted to have that yellow, dusky, dark feel with the green smog. just to make it look a little bit more industrious. Once I have that established, now I can go in and design some of my shops. I didn't want to bother too much with this because, again, you'll see most of these in the backgrounds. I'll make it a little bit more futuristic, sci-fi, put in the front door, make a sign, ATM machine. Oh, I say ATM machine. The M stands for machine, I apologise. ATM, a vending machine, and all of this kind of face is also a part of the AI thing that's part of the larger story. So we'll stick with that. And again, just establishing some colors, establishing some basic colors, really, just to make it a little bit pop. And ultimately, we want to have the same kind of color for that AI face. And the vending machine will come in later on as well as part of the story. But ultimately, this is just ideas right now we're pushing. Another idea that we had was to have a large shopping mall, which is effectively a sphere, or a cylinder, more accurately, and each little kind of rectangle that you can see on that is a shop in itself. It'll be like clear glass, and you go through this large elevator, and each area will have its own shop. This will be a larger shopping mall. And again, the shopping mall will be attached to a monument. I'm just doing a little corner of the inside of it. So these are just references that I can build in for myself, create things that will help me later on when I'm actually drawing out the manga or the comic, to give me references for buildings, and as such I can just pick and choose areas that I want, create a city scene from things that I've already drawn. Now I'm just trying to plan out a little bit more of a structure, and what I realized this pretty quick, but the shape didn't quite work, so I had to switch to more of a portrait compared to a landscape shape. This just gives me an idea of the size, feel, and I says complexity that is this building, or this planet. And you can see lots of wires going back and forth. You can see lots of people around. Some of the vending machines are there. The shop's built on top of the monuments. Just planning things out really right now. So all I've done is I penciled this. I'm going to go into a little bit of the inks, but I don't want to be too exact with everything right now. When it comes to actually drawing the comic and the manga, then yeah, fair enough, I'll have more of a steady hand and I'll put more effort into this. Right now, I'm just kind of establishing things. That's my idea of a concept, is just to get establishing the buildings and establishing ideas. So something a little bit more concrete compared to just rough ideas, but it's still it's not exact right now. In any case, all I'm doing is inking a little bit of this. Most of it's going to be coloured, just to give me, again, perspective, give me ideas. And notice I changed some of the people down there to some taxis and whatnot, and some cars to make it a little bit more busy city scene. And what I've done is created a little bit of forced perspective at the background, so you can see the monuments, adding a little bit of shadow highlights here and there, just so it makes it a little bit more three-dimensional. And I'll just overlay everything with that yellowy orangey colour, so that it's it creates that sense of atmosphere, creates that dusky, dry feel to the planet. And there you go, that's pretty much the planet as is, just as an idea. So this is what it looks like. Again, it's quite rough, but at the same time, it works for what we need. Next, we had to establish Bernie's. Now, Bernie is the owner of the taxi stand. If you're on Patreon, you will have already seen what Bernie looks like. If not, join the Patreon, please do. So again, establishing what ideas that I need to have for my taxi stand, what needs to be in it, is there an interior, is there an exterior, and yes, I'll have quite a lot of ideas written down and just planning through it, thinking through what I need, what's necessary, what's not, and then effectively just establishing a plan. That's my list of what I need, what I don't need, or what really is my list of what should be there. And I decided, right, I'll just pencil in some monuments, or kind of silhouette out some shapes that might work with the monument of the taxi stand as well. So that, again, the taxi stand is going to be built on top of the monument. And I figure something like a statuette, or I suppose a larger husky statue would work, and the taxi stand could fit on top of that. And again, they're crumbling, they're decaying. It's almost as if people don't really care about the monuments and have built on top of that. They're not respecting the previous culture that was there, but instead are ignoring it effectively and putting their own needs in front of what the original cultures was. So now I'm just showing roughly where the taxis would pretty much go. That's Bernie's, that's the exterior, so that's what it's going to look like when you first look at it from the outside. And next thing what I did was create a grid to make a little bit more of a 3-point, I suppose it's 2-point perspective, so that I can have a little bit more accuracy when I'm drawing the interior. And this is my grid. I've seen hundreds of videos like this on YouTube. I've seen a few videos like this on Instagram where people have made this grid, and I'll tell you honestly, it helps so much. So if you are thinking of doing your own concept and you are thinking of creating this kind of perspective grid for concept designs, or maybe even for the final picture, it is useful to do so. Of course, things like Clip Studio or Photoshop will probably have their own perspective thing that you can add to it, so just be aware of that, but having areas like this does help. So one of the gags that I've got going on is that Bernie himself is quite small, and so inside his main office, which is that big block to the right side there is ladders that heads up, so he looks taller than he actually is. So it's almost like he can look face to face with people and isn't intimidated by size. And then, you know, put some danky posters up there, put a few of the vending machines there, low lighting, a door to get in. Now what I've done is I've effectively just putting in some color theory. So I went with a triad of colors, 3 colors that are on thirds of each other on the color wheel, and then playing about with saturation, playing about with hue. And again, if you want more on what that means and a little bit more in color theory, let me know, comment, and I'll try and make a video on that as well. But there are plenty of really good videos on YouTube already. Again, YouTube is not the goal here, but it is Patreon. In any case, this is what the inside of Bernie's is going to look like. Dank, not exactly the nicest area, but you know, a job's a job. And I even put in a little Hoover, the vacuum type thing. There's that circle just underneath, and that's it. This is what Bernie's looks like. Well, that was it. That was live session number 3. Thank you again for those of you who joined me. It's been brilliant to have you here. Absolutely loved when we put things together. Your ideas are so much more interesting than mine, so I really do appreciate that. Hope to see you at the next one. Please do like, please do subscribe, please do share, join the Patreon. It's a huge support to me and my family. Huge shout out to people who have already joined the Patreon. Thank you so much for all of you who are supporting this, and I'll see you at the next one.